the learning velocity and skill development that you can get. So the traditional product management education, first of all, is all over the map. Like the best way that people do it is years of on-the-job training and doing it the wrong way and hitting their head against things, right? Having bad experiences, getting burnout, stuff like that. But I mean, there are Maven courses, Reforge. There are like pay-to-play types of things out there. But the build-it-yourself approach, immediately applicable to other areas of your professional life of doing something for your own. So that's the first category. Is that, and I don't know if I'll be arguing for or against in this category, but that's the general category here. Okay, the speed at which you learn is not going to be faster than anywhere else unless you build something for yourself.
I think the interesting thing here is you're building it for yourself, so you do have to learn a lot of different disciplines very quickly. Whereas in the real world, maybe you're not allowed that, right? At your employer, maybe you're just given a specific aspect of it as you come into the field. If you're lucky enough to have other people you can look up to or lean on for advice and guidance, great. But that's not very common. We touched on this topic several times in different podcasts. So I would agree that it is a quicker path doing it yourself. One of the things that happens when you do it yourself is you really have no guardrails. So how do you ensure you're learning the right stuff and then you're learning it right?
Well, you nailed one of the points that I had written down on the back of a pizza box before we began, which is you generate this overconfidence in your own judgment. And now you start to see where it comes from, because like the company founders that are out there doing it all by themselves, like they're doing it with their own judgment and their assumptions, especially if they don't have product management, like professional training or the professional experience of a product manager to say, like the old lean startup kind of, like, you know, don't test the market and don't build a lot and just MVP your stuff. They're coming up with an assumption and then going all in on it and then hoping to make their money back or whatever. That's the first thing you point out is like, hey, you're going all in and you're overconfident in not only your ability, but your assumptions, right?
Yeah.
And the other sides where like self-building, it creates dangerous skill gaps. There's a few other points that I had written down for this one. Product management, like the last episode that, 2 episodes ago, I think. So I think 2 episodes ago, we put up a podcast about influence without authority.
Yep.
And this is one of those, that podcast would not have been necessary at all. Of like, here's some different tactics for you to try if you had the authority. So now you're in this role, you have all the authority. So now there's no one that would push back on you when you have authority. Anybody that would push back on you when you don't have authority and the different reasons they're doing it, how many of those reasons go away when you are the one with the authority and now they're just too afraid to ask, or they don't think they can change your mind, or because of something you said or an argument or something they don't want to bring it back up, or maybe you're now their employer and they don't want to risk?
Yeah, I mean, so now they could be, more reticent of pointing out your blind spots, right? And so if you don't even know what they are, your blind spots, how are you going to resolve those? So you go along in your merry way thinking this is the way to build it, because all you know is that. You built it yourself and it's worked great, till you try to translate that into some other field. Not necessarily domain so much, like it's all, but some other field, some other area, and you might suddenly find yourself overtaken.
I don't think I have any other points in the against category that I wrote down for notes. I mean, those are the big ones, the overconfidence in your own ability. Nobody's really checking your assumption. Or nobody's really like checking you on anything. Yeah. Some people might hear that and say like, well, I get feedback and I'm constantly asking. I'm not that kind of person. Stakeholder management that a product manager will do, cross-functional collaboration that a product manager will do, when you're building it by yourself, especially if you're solo, you don't have any of that.
Right. Yeah, very true. And you certainly don't have a product coach, probably.
So there's the pitfalls there. What are the positives here? The 4 is building it for yourself, building the tools, software, whatever for yourself, to put your hands on a lot of stuff that otherwise you wouldn't be exposed to if you were in a larger organization. And I would also lean to say a larger and more traditional organization. Like if you're in fintech or something like that, there's very little chance that they're going to give you AWS access or whatever, access to go poke around the database and create new tables. And
it's just the bureaucracy, right? Yeah, that makes sense. So you'll get there quicker, but where there is, it is anybody's guess, right?
Also, boy, all that cost of delay, it just all goes away when you're doing it yourself.
It's quick. You don't have to get permission, right? Or you don't have to do all of that stuff. So yeah, agreed.
No bureaucratic barriers. Nobody kind of checking you for good or worse. Nobody checking you to say like, hey, this hypothesis driven way of operating, maybe we can just say I'll just make all the decisions and we can move forward. Like, you have a lot more freedom to do things the right way. That'd be my put. And then as you do things the right way, again, if you have this growth mindset, you really do, and you put that hat on, you put all the hats on because it's just you. Like, you can really next level
accelerate. So that's the key right there. Don't be arrogant and think that this is the way. Yeah. Maybe once in a while, just get someone to check on it.
That's true. So casting a wide net, getting a lot of feedback, and everything that anybody that probably listens to this podcast would expect. In this category, if you choose the self-building path, I would say set artificial constraints that mirror what normal PMs have. Talk to users. Don't stay on things too long. You know what I mean? Have real demos. Have actual budgets. Or at least if you don't have budgets, at least report. Keep the money and what you're developing somewhere so you can look back and make decisions over time.
That's critical if you're going to go to the next level and perhaps get some funding for whatever it is you're trying to do.
The other thing would be reach out to your community, because there might be people that would just like to look at what you're doing and give you some coaching advice just because they think it's cool. Like,
that is a good call out. Yeah, it's a very good way to, I think, just make sure that you're calibrating where you're going. Right. I agree.